Hello, today I'm going to be doing a Let's Play of Demon's Souls, which not everyone has heard of, but it is an amazing game. And I was going to try and do a speed run for you. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to complete it in any short amount of time, because it is quite a difficult game. But, well, I'll have a go. And I'm going to go as the hardest class to start off with, which is the Barbarian. Apparently. I'm just going to pick a random name. I really can't be arsed putting much effort into the name at the moment. There we go, Binksel. What a great name. I'll just use a stock appearance. Right, basically it's an RPG. It's something that you can play and you will die a lot. This isn't an easy game.
King Aland the 12th.
It's a game that you won't be able to complete easily unless you're immensely good at tactical RPGs, because this well, this game, it's
Boletaria was cut off from the outside world, and those who
very
penetrate the deep fog never
it's not slow paced, it's quite fast paced game. But if you don't do it right, you will lose.
Broke free from the fog and told the world of Boletaria's
trial and error with learning how to fight the enemies, what way to fight them, what weapons to use against them, what abilities to use against them, especially if you're using magic, which I'm going to try and use as little magic as possible for this run, because it makes the game a lot easier if you're using magic. Like, if you use a lot of magic, you can literally fly through the game. And I also have a friend who thinks it's impossible to beat the game without using magic on every single level. And I'm trying to prove him wrong, as well as at the same time as raising awareness for this game and for the sequel which is coming out, which isn't, this game's only on PS3, but the sequel, Dark Souls, is coming out on PS3 and Xbox. So I just wanted to show this game and show what it's like, how good it is before Dark Souls is released at the end of the year, and maybe generate a little bit of hype. Maybe talk to you a little bit about Dark Souls, what I know about it so far, and well, show you how good the original is. If any of you have a PS3 and you don't have this game, it's highly recommended. It is a little bit hard, so if you're someone who gives up easily, I wouldn't recommend buying it, because people generally complain and say it's a bad game and there's things in it that are broken just because they keep dying on the first level.
The sixth saint Astraea and her knight Garl.
I'm just going through all this before the game starts, so that, because when I start playing I might end up being a little bit annoyed, because I haven't had a PS3 in 3 months, because I sent it off to get well, I didn't have the money to get repaired, then I sent it off to get repaired, and obviously the network's been down recently, and I haven't played this game in about 6 months. Now, I am going to, obviously as I said, go the weakest race, weakest class on the game, and try and complete the game as quick as possible, and I'll show you guys what the game's like, and maybe there'll be a little bit of walkthrough, because I'll tell you how to get past the enemies, what to do at certain points in the game, where the shortcuts are, where all the items are, and stuff like that. Now, this is the journey to the Nexus. This is just like a tutorial, and I'll go through some of the game mechanics in this as it tells me, but I already know how to play. Also, a lot of the loading screens will have characters on them, and those characters are usually they're all the main characters in the game. There's not really much of a story to this game, but some of the characters are actually pretty interesting.
I shall guide you.
Now, obviously, I'm having to play this game in standard definition because I'm recording on a Dazzle and I don't have a HD PVR. But this game, it's not the best looking game, but it does look pretty good in 720p rather than 576i or whatever the standard definition is on this. Right. So here you can see this is my character. All he's got at the moment is some rather nice brown shorts, a small circular shield, and a club beating up enemies with. Now it's R1 to block, R2 kind of, well, hits attacks away like a parry, and then L1 to block, L2 to parry, R2 is heavy attack, and R1 is light attack. See the green bar up there at the top of the screen which goes down when it attacks? That is the stamina bar. Once that runs out, you gotta wait for it to regain, or you can't perform action. Also, in this game, you can leave notes on the ground for players who are also online, and you can read them like that one. That one's, since this is a tutorial, these are preset notes. That one just says R1 is standard attack. This next one is, if you hold circle, you sprint in the direction you're going in, which is probably the best way to get around levels, even though it does drain stamina. L1 guard, yes, keep my shield up, which prevents enemies from attacking. R3 is target lock. Now that's very important. Sometimes you don't want to target lock because there are times in the game where not locking onto target may help you. Now if I go up here, there are more. There is, well, this tutorial level is pretty simple. These enemies, they're all really weak and generally not the hardest things to get past. I mean, I know that a couple hit me, that's just because I've mistimed it. Yeah, if you press square, it's to use items. You press down to cycle through the items you have. Grasses heal you. There's crescent moon grass, half moon grass, late moon grass, full moon grass, new moon grass, and dark moon grass, and that's in order of how much they help you heal. Then dark moon grass also heals all ailments because you can get poisoned and cursed and stuff. Well, poisoned. I actually can't remember like all the different things. Oh yeah, circles roll like in any directions, and if you stand still and you press circle, you'll jump backwards out of the way of enemy attacks. Or usually out of the way of enemy attacks. These things lunge at you, but they don't really take much health off you. I'm just gonna heal. Eat a couple of grass, which, to be honest, you don't usually. If you take much damage in this tutorial level, don't worry. It's not very important. Now this isn't Arkstone. These take you between levels. Well, usually it'll take you back to the Nexus at the end of a level. Nexus is like a hub where you can go to all the levels from. But on this one, this just takes you to the next part of the tutorial. So I'm going to warp to the new area of the tutorial. Some of the characters are good, some of them are bad, like with any game. If you meet her, she's like absolutely crazy, and she has that huge axe called the guillotine axe, and she just chases you around and tries to hit you with it. R2 strong attack. Right, this is where you get the more advanced enemies. These ones are like soldiers, so these take a few more hits to kill, but they'll also kill you quicker. Especially when you get into the actual game, the enemies on the tutorials are easier to kill and do less damage to you than the enemies that are in the real game. Also, rolling is very useful. Wearing a lot of heavy armor isn't. It does give you more protection, but rolling is how you avoid most of the attacks on the game. If you don't roll, you die. But on the other hand, there's levels where if you roll too much, you're probably gonna die. Now these are blue-eyed knights. These are stronger than regular enemies. See what I did there? If you time it right when an enemy goes to attack you, and press L2 to do the parry, it'll hit the sword away, and then if you press R1 you can riposte, which will do extra damage like a critical hit. You can do that from behind. You can do critical hits from behind as well if you sneak up on an enemy and then press R1, you can backstab them. But obviously it's pretty fun seeing a riposte and a backstab with a giant club, because somehow you manage to force the club through them. Now if I'm going to try and do it again on this one, but he doesn't seem to be attacking me, because sometimes they go into turtle mode. They look pretty brutal, the riposte, so... oh yeah, left and right change weapon, because you can have two weapons equipped to each hand, so you can have like, right could be like my club, and then I could have like a wand as well, or left could be my shield, and then a talisman. Talisman's used to cast prayers, and wands are used to cast magic spells. But as I said, I'm going to try and avoid using a lot of magic this time around, because it does make the game a lot easier. Crossbowmen, these are actually probably more annoying than regular troops, because they have a ranged attack, and you usually encounter them in groups in high places, so they generally get on your nerves. But as I've said, it is a bit of a hard game, and it is completable. It's not that hard, but a lot of people do complain about the difficulty. Like, especially even people I know say that they won't get the game because it's like everyone says it's too hard, but it really isn't that hard. People just need to learn. If you've got to adapt to how the enemies attack you. If they're using a lot of fast-paced attacks, it's best to roll out the way, wait for an opening, and then come back with a fast attack of your own. I failed that example there because, well, I ended up not being able to dodge his attack. But as I said, it isn't that hard. People make it out to be a lot harder than it actually is. Up here, this is the first boss. You can kill this, although you're not meant to. You're not meant to have to, because it is really hard. You have like weak weapons at the start, and he does kill you in one hit. But what you have to do is you have to run straight past him and then roll. And yeah, he does do a lot of damage. So trying to take him down is pretty hard. He's very large. Yeah. See, I only got a tiny bit of health off him. If I went a strong class like a knight or something that had a halberd or a sword, I'd probably be able to take him down. And then you get to go to another area and you get a couple of extra souls when you start the game. But it's not really that important that you take him down. This is just the tutorial, the journey to the Nexus, and if he doesn't kill you, you go to another area where a big boss basically appears and kills you anyway, so that you get sent to the Nexus because you're dead. And then basically here, this is where everything happens in the game world.
Drawn from its vessel. Let strength be granted so the world might be mended. So the world might be mended. This is the Nexus. It holds together the northern land of Boletaria. Thou canst not exit the Nexus, but each of the 5 archstones will connect them to
Right. Now that I've died, I'm in the Nexus. I'm also in soul form, which you can see at the top where my health bar is. It's been cut in half, basically. My max health's now half of what it was, because in soul form you do a little bit more damage in soul form, but you do have less health, and it does work against you in some levels.
Well, you slipped through the fissure too, did you? You came for demon souls? Or to save this land and be remembered as a